Is there any new evidence for a change in direction on Uniswap? Let's break down the technicals and see if we can find some clues. What's up, gang? Carlton Flowers back again. Your crypto pro with Uniswap, on the table, on the desktop here with the 4-hour chart. We're going to see if we can find any clues that will let us know if there will be any changes with this nasty price line action. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, there are some changes, but it's not what you're thinking, and it ain't good. But let's break down the chart and see if we can put together some guesses. So let's get into it. Here we go on the 4-hour chart. And we see from the jump here, from the release, that we are now trading below. In fact, not just below the release of this, but we're trading below the new base that formed, that was one step underneath our opening point. And now we're heading for the next base level that was created underneath the first lower base level. So here recently, we have just blown through right here. Let's just zoom in. We blew through this second base. We're going to call this a sub base. This is the real base right here. Let's make this one a different color. So let's just call this one dark green because that was the beginning point. And let's change the color of this one. Let's make this kind of light reddish, real light red. Okay, we'll do it like that. And then let's make this bottom one an even darker red. So the lower we go, the more red it will get. Now, the point of control is still sitting at around the $3.08 point. And as we can see right here, when we zoom in, this candle on the current candlestick rather, almost touched down on this lower base point. That's just not good. And all of the other indications are also not looking that good. So we did recover, and we're sitting at $2.63. And hopefully we hold that, but it's probably not going to happen. And $2.47 being that bottom base, we're probably headed for it. Why? It's the stochastic. Look at this nasty stochastic. We were already down here in the oversold zone, and then we had this slight little tick upward, and then as soon as we ticked up, it went and decided to flip where the fast line overtook the slow line and is underneath it, which tells us that we're headed back down into this negative territory. Now, hopefully the momentum of this won't carry us too far down below, but only time will tell. So it looks like this blue line has taken one little change in direction. If you look really closely here, you can see that here's our first little tick was in this direction, and now we have flattened out the slope there of the line, but that doesn't mean that we're going to have a reversal. A reversal means this slow line or the fast line is going to have to cross over that slow line like that, and then that's still no indication that it's going to stay that way. Well, anyway, knowing that the stochastic is headed in a lower momentum, it tells me we're probably headed back down to this baseline. Now, hopefully we'll be all bottomed out here once we hit this bottom baseline, and if we do, then maybe we could start in that next cycle up on the stochastic cycle, the 4-hour cycle, and maybe it will produce a higher high based on the return of what we get at these stochastic peaks. Now, thus far, that return on the stochastic peaks is nothing but ugliness, because let's just take a look here. When we had this peak, here's our price right there. Okay, so here's our level right there at that green baseline. So then on the next stochastic peak, we just barely made it to the line, but we only have wicks that went above that line, and the candle closes. They didn't close above the line, so that's a lower low. On the next stochastic peak, we see that we return yet another lower price where we did not make it back up to that fundamental baseline from the starting level price. The next one, it did push higher, but notice here, we didn't really go too much higher in price. So although we almost touched on that 80% line, we didn't get too big of a push up here. Next peak, lower high yet again. And so on this next cycle, what I would be looking to see is how far is it going to push up into this territory here? Is it going to push up above this point of control? Is it going to get back up here to this first baseline? Is it going to even get above this one right here on that second lowest baseline? From my opinion, just from looking at this, it doesn't look like it's going to me, because we don't have any indication that there's any brakes on this train. It's just sailing down, and that kind of tells me that people are still unloading. So let's just zoom out a little bit and look at this OBV, man. Just from the jump, here we go. It's nothing but, downward movement. We had this little jump up right here, and then after that, overall, it's just nothing but a dip, little recovery there, side banding action, and now we're headed down lower again. So that says that the bag holders, whoever it might be, if it's institutional investors, if it's whales, or if it's the people that got the airdrops, they're still getting rid of it. They're not satisfied yet that we have seen a bottom level price. People don't think that there is a bottom in sight. And when people don't think there's a bottom in sight, they're going to sell because they want to keep their little cash and try to hold that to flip it into Bitcoin or something else that is moving up. They don't want to just sit there and watch their free 4,000 unis go down to nothing. So we're just going to have to wait it out. Now, let's get rid of that and jump out to the 1 day chart. Let's see if we can see anything here. Clearing this out. All right, let's zoom it in and see if this kind of gives any other clues. Well, first of all, we can see here that it's just about the same on the 1 day. The point of control looks like it's had a lot of action, where it was a support here and then it became a resistance, and that's what usually happens. Prior supports become future resistances, and the stochastic looks nasty. It looks like we're still on a nice momentum. There's a good little gap here between the fast line and the slow line, and that matches with our on balance volume showing continued distribution. And so here's the thing, we're slipping into no man's land. Okay, so notice that, point of control, we have a nice volume node here, we have a nice one here. There's just not enough history to really pull too much evidence of where price will be attracted. We got a little node there, a little node there, but then there's nothing here. So we're just running into a slip zone. It's new territory. And so we're going to have to print some new high volume bars, which might be made by a majority of selling action. So once we fall, we've already fallen below the last little volume profile bar here that was significant, and see how small this one is? So we're sitting on this last one. So if we drop below that, we're going to head into this slip zone where anything can happen. We could just have a price drop there. Overall, there's a bright future. So the only thing that I would say is wait for this thing to look like it hits a bottom, or start buying out. Just pluck off a few and dollar cost average. I'm not holding any right now. I sold out at what, $3.10, and then I think I bought a little bit more. I can't remember. I'm going to look on my portfolio and see. But I think in the long term, it's going to be a steal of a deal to buy it at this price. And I would say just buy on these dips and buy the dollar cost average method. By the time we hit that bull market, I think that'll set you up for maximum gains instead of waiting for the absolute bottom, because it's nearly impossible to be able to pluck off a crypto in this crazy market at an absolute bottom. So that's about all I got for Uniswap. We'll just wait and see what happens. So post your comments below what you think the bottom will be for Uniswap, and when it is going to turn from slop to a great buy, when it starts to enter into a bullish phase. Let me know. Like and subscribe if you have not already. More updates coming. Stay tuned. This is Carlton Flowers, the Crypto Pro, and we out.